Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really, really fascinating. We're looking at a concept drawn straight from the teachings of a Shaolin master, known as the Mental Liberation Framework. Now, the core idea here is absolutely crucial, and honestly, a bit of a paradigm shift. What if mastering your mind is the actual key to mastering your life? We spend so much of our time trying to fix our external circumstances, but this framework, it suggests that true freedom actually starts from within. So let's unpack this together.
Okay, let's dive right into this because this is a question we literally all have to face at some point. What if the most intense battle you'll ever fight isn't out there in the real world, but right there, between your own ears? Every single day, we step onto this invisible mental battlefield. Our greatest obstacles usually aren't other people or, bad luck. No, they're the automatic negative thoughts, the quiet doubts, and the insecurities that we just kind of blindly accept as reality. We let these thoughts narrate our whole future without ever stopping to question them. I just love this metaphor. It's so vivid. Think of your mind as a garden. It's like a giant plot of land. If you just leave it completely unattended, if you just run on autopilot, well, weeds are naturally going to grow, right? And in the mind, those weeds are negative thoughts, self-doubt, and fear. But if you become aware, if you actively take care of that garden, you have the absolute power to pull those weeds and intentionally plant seeds of confidence, gratitude, and real strength. So to actually get there, we're going to walk through the 5 steps of this liberation framework. First, the mental battlefield. Second, awareness, not your thoughts. Third, challenge and replace lies. Fourth, control your mental diet. And finally, number 5, the daily fitness routine. All right, starting off with step 1, the mental battlefield. Let's start by totally destigmatizing the daily struggle you might be having with negative thoughts. I really want you to absorb this fact. Your brain is wired for survival, not happiness. Just think about that for a second. Noticing danger, looking for threats, fixating on problems, that is a biological default. It is not a personal failing on your part. When negative thinking feels completely automatic, that's literally just your brain trying to keep you safe based on ancient primal wiring. You are not broken for having negative thoughts. Your brain is just doing its job. But here is an idea from the Shaolin master that changes the whole game. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who hears the thoughts. You're simply the observer. And most people never realize this. They let their fleeting thoughts become their entire identity. But the second you separate yourself, the moment you realize, oh, wait, I'm the observer here, you suddenly hold the power to challenge those thoughts, change them, and rise completely above them. Let's move to step 2 and see how this builds. Section 2, awareness and exposing the lies. The very first step to reclaiming your power is exposing the lies that your inner critic keeps telling you. It is time to start paying incredibly close attention to that quiet, repetitive autopilot running in your head. When a negative thought pops up, do not just accept it. Pause, hit the brakes, and interrogate it with 3 specific questions. Ask yourself, where did this thought come from? Is this based on actual fact, or is it just fear and past trauma? And honestly, my favorite one, would I say this to someone I love? You're going to quickly realize these thoughts aren't logical at all. They're just emotional patterns. And by shining a bright light on them with these questions, you completely strip those lies of their power. Which brings us to section 3, challenge and replace lies. Now, just noticing that internal mental storm, that's not enough. We have to take some actionable steps. You must actively stand in that storm and speak truth to it. And this brilliantly illustrates how you can break a mental lie. You do it by replacing a distorted, fear-based belief with a highly intentional, truth-based affirmation. For example, if your autopilot thought is, I'm not good enough, you don't just ignore it. No, you actively replace it with, I am learning, I am growing, and I am worthy. This isn't toxic positivity, and it's definitely not about ignoring pain. It's about refusing to let your own mind bully you. It's making the truth louder than the fear. You absolutely have to fundamentally change your inner dialogue. Because right now, your mind might be acting as the critic, always looking for flaws. Well, you need to fire the critic and hire the coach. You need to courageously correct your own thinking with the exact same compassion and the exact same encouragement you'd use to correct a beloved friend who was just being way too hard on themselves. All right, moving right along to section 4, control your mental diet. Look, your thoughts don't just magically appear out of a vacuum. They're directly influenced by the environment you put yourself in. Everything you physically, digitally, and emotionally consume is quite literally programming your brain. So you need to conduct a ruthless environmental audit.
Look closely at your social media accounts. Are they inspiring you or are they totally draining you? If they're making you compare your life and doubt your worth, unfollow them immediately. Look at your daily conversations. Are you surrounded by people who pour life into you or do they plant seeds of doubt? Sometimes you just have to love toxic people from a safe distance to protect your own peace. And finally, look at what you're listening to and reading. You need podcasts, books, and content that challenge your thinking and motivate you to grow. So the absolutely crucial point here is this. Control the input and you control the output. If you're constantly consuming drama, negativity, and chaos, well, your thoughts are going to be anxious and heavy. But if you purposefully feed your mind with wisdom, encouragement, and hope, your baseline thoughts will naturally shift. Your mental diet directly creates your mental environment. You've got to give your mind something powerful to hear. And that perfectly sets up Section 5, Presence and the Daily Fitness Routine. This brings us to a super tangible daily practice that absolutely anyone can start right now, today. It begins with mindfulness, which the master defines so beautifully as the ability to be fully present in the moment without judgment. Think about it for a second. Most of our negative thoughts stem from two specific places: regret, which lives entirely in the past, and anxiety, which lives in the future. We're either overthinking old mistakes or we're worrying about outcomes that haven't even happened yet. But true peace only lives right here, right now, in the present moment. To actually cultivate that presence, you need a structured daily fitness routine. I mean, you wouldn't go to the gym just once and expect lifelong physical strength, right? Your mind works the exact same way. Treating your mental health like a muscle requires consistent repetition, some resistance, and a whole lot of patience. So here are the 3 steps we're going to use: morning intention, midday check-ins, and evening reflection. Step 1 happens the very moment you wake up. Before you grab your phone, before the absolute chaos of the world begins, just take 5 to 10 minutes of stillness. Just breathe. Use this quiet time for silence, gratitude, or prayer. What you're doing is setting a powerful intention for the day. You're deciding who you are going to be before the rest of the world tries to tell you otherwise. Step 2 is the midday check-in. Just pause at some point during your day and ask yourself if your current thoughts are helping you or hurting you. Now, what's really interesting about this step is that the whole key is interrupting the spiral. You don't need a full hour of deep meditation to fix a bad day. Even a single, incredibly brief moment of awareness, literally just catching the negative thought and speaking truth right over it, can stop a negative mental spiral dead in its tracks. And finally, step 3 is your evening reflection. Close out your day by journaling. Review what went really well and what you might want to improve for tomorrow. Tracking your growth like this helps you recognize your own mental patterns, and it lets you release all those bottled up emotions right onto the page. And crucially, this is so important, this is the time to grant yourself some grace. Forgive yourself for overthinking or slipping up during the day. Grace is just a mandatory part of growth, because at the end of the day, you're human. We've covered the mental battlefield, adopting the awareness of the observer, challenging those lies, ruthlessly auditing your mental diet, and building a daily fitness routine. So, I want to leave you with this provocative final question. Are you going to continue to let automatic, fear-based patterns make you a prisoner of your own thoughts? Or will you take action today, use this framework, and step up to become the absolute master of your mind? The choice and the power is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope you start planting that mental garden today.